Hello, everybody. Welcome back to this week's episode of Hustle Culture Dropout. I am here with an incredible woman that I'm so excited to have onto the podcast, Christine Brinkman, who is local to San Antonio. You are like my first local guest. So I'm so
So
excited.
fun.
And the craziest part is like you're local, but we've never met like in real life yet. And
Yes,
so
yes, for
but
sure.
I am so excited to have you. So thank you for being on. Christine is actually this incredible woman entrepreneur who has started this community in San Antonio, Babes Support Babes. And it is just this incredible group of women entrepreneurs and connecting. And I know you're all about connection, and you have a co-working space
Mhm.
that is beautiful. I've actually been in it, not for anything Babe Support Babe related, but I had a friend who hosted a baby shower there because you do events
Oh,
there as well.
yes.
And so actually prior to, I had already, I think, connected with you and was following you on Instagram. And so I was familiar with the community, but I hadn't actually joined the community yet. And
Mhm.
then sort of like when I went in and I saw this beautiful space that you've created and everything it had to offer, I was like, okay, this is like definitely something, like she's onto something here.
Mhm.
This is
Awesome.
amazing.
Yes,
So thank you so much for agreeing to come on.
of course.
I am so excited to have you. Why don't you just sort of tell us a little bit about yourself, and then just start letting us know, about your journey. I know that you are super, like you're the super ambitious, like just all about the connections. And I want to hear like what inspired you to start this community
Mm.
and just sort of take us through what that journey looked like for you.
Thank you so much for that introduction. And I'm
Yeah.
so excited to be here, Chastity. It's such a joy to be part of this podcast that you are hosting and that you're helping so many. So, like I said, my name is Christine Brinkman. I'm the founder of Babe Support Babes. BSB, I'll be referring to Babe Support
Yeah.
Babes as BSB because it's shorter and easier and faster to say. BSB has been around going on 6 years, but really honing in and really niching down of who I'm serving and how I can serve them really well are female entrepreneurs. Just a little personally about myself. I am a mom of three. I have a preteen, a 12-year-old, a gal, and then a little boy who's not little anymore. I say that in my mind, he's still 4. He'll be 10 this year. And then I have my daughter who is 7. And I'm married going on 16 years. And I love people. I think a lot of times we pursue things that we have a core memory about when we were a kid. A lot of times when you do those inner works, maybe you'll do a workbook or read a book, they'll always ask you, what were these huge moments in your life that was the trajectory of what you are pursuing now? And I would say people, connection.
Yeah.
I distinctly remember I was 5 years old at one of my birthday parties. I didn't care about the presents, honestly. I can't even remember the birthday cake, but I remember the people there, and I remember how I felt when I saw them so happy to be part of this party and their excitement. To a point where I asked them and encouraged them to open my gifts because I wanted them to feel such a part of the celebration with me. And that was as little as 5. And so ever since then, I remember my parents said, hey, we're having a gathering. I would light up. How can I decorate? What can I do? What playlist I can be playing? What candle I can be lighting to make that ambiance so perfect for that person? Because that's what I love. I love making
Mhm.
people feel seen and loved. And that I became a teacher. But after having my third kiddo and realizing all my paycheck was going to childcare, we decided, my husband and I decided to be a stay-at-home mom for me. It was a dramatic shift.
Yeah.
My community, my people were my teacher friends, and so coming from literally my best friend, then like on the opposite side of that wall of me, gone. The next, just it was very hard. It was very hard to transition what community looked like for me, and I was also postpartum with my third, and so I had this really eye-opening moment of like, what am I doing? Where is my friendship? And someone who was in their 30s, how does friendship look like now? It's not like
Yeah.
you go to recess and They're like,
Right.
"Hey, you want to be my friend?" Or "I see that
Hmm.
you're wearing pink and I'm wearing pink. Let's be together."
Right.
It was
Exactly.
it was harder, and then add littles to it.
Hmm.
I know so many probably moms listening to this is you have all the aspiration and desire and hope that when you go to a play date, that one play date you will find your best friend and you will have the
Yeah.
best conversation. But in reality, kids interrupt. There's a
Hmm.
stinky diaper that needs to be changed, and it's really hard. So during that time, I sought sewing as my companion and pursued a handmade business. And I decided to host a pop up with all other women who did a handmade business back in 2018 that produced other markets, other events. And what I found was women really having a desire for community. There are
Hmm.
many women going as guests at the events saying, "I don't make anything, but I want to be involved with Babe Support Babe.
Yeah.
So what can I do?" And my answer at the time was like, "Well, come to our next market." I don't know. I really had nothing then. And then COVID hit and markets had
Mm.
to stop. Events in person had to stop, but connection and building community didn't. So we went to Zoom, we went virtual, and through that we realized, okay, we have a solid community here. And it wasn't just all in San Antonio, it was the surrounding areas, and even shout out to some members who are not even in Texas, that were committed and loved the vision that we had for BSB. So in 2021, we launched our membership, and through that, we grew rapidly. It's
Hmm.
pretty amazing to see that. I thought in my head maybe 20 ladies would be wanting to hang out and learn and grow, but it grew very fast. And we found that we needed a home, a place to host our ladies because we were overrunning coffee shops
Yeah.
quickly. And so that's when the co-space happened, and that opened in 2022. So that's kind of we call it our sorority house in a way. That's where we
Yeah.
host all of our events. And when we don't have events, I also do women only co-working Monday through Thursday, and we have event rentals weeknights and weekends. So basically, I get to just host and connect women all the time. And so my 5-year old self inside me is just jumping up in joy and excitement of like, we get to do this as a job.
Right.
This is amazing. We basically have birthday parties all the time when we go to work. So that's what's about BSB. And what my biggest inspiration is hearing women say, "I have this crazy idea,
Hmm.
this passion I want to pursue, but I don't know how to do it." And I'm like, "Oh, sister, this is the place to share because it is safe here, and we will find people to help you to pursue that passion and make it a reality." So I love what I do.
Yeah, that I love that story so much because I think that so often as adult women, we get this idea that we should have this somewhere along the line we sort of disconnect with what brought us joy as a
Mm-hmm.
child or what interests we had like when we were
Mm-hmm.
growing up. And obviously people grow and people change, so that might not always look the same, but I feel
Yeah.
like if you really sort of turn inward and you really think to yourself like what innately brought me joy as a child or as a teen or what makes me happy and how can I reconnect with that,
Mm-hmm.
um, you would be surprised at maybe how much more like happiness you could holistically have in your life. Because if you can, I mean, we hear people talk about all the time, like, oh, well, do what you love or
Yes.
find your
Mm-hmm.
passion and, you'll never work a day in your life if you,
Yeah.
and that's all great and fun. And there is definitely a lot of validity to that, but I also think that sometimes people really we lose the connection of what brought us joy as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's really unique and fun that you were able to understand that that's what made you happy, like
Yeah.
entertaining, like hosting people, making people feel welcomed and like you said seen and
Mm-hmm.
just comfortable, and having that energy. And you are so great at I feel like like what you're sitting here telling me. And again, I will preface by saying I have never met you in real life. I
Mhm.
am a member of BSB
Mhm.
and I'm super excited about that. I have not, literally every time I'm like, I'm going to this event, something happens. Like I got sick once. Like it's just like always something has prevented me from being there. But I will say that I feel like everything that you have put out online, like your online persona,
Mhm.
the kind of content that you're creating, how you're connecting with people is genuinely what I feel like really embodies what BSB is about or what you have wanted BSB to be about. You can tell that you are very invested in it and you're very connected to that. And I feel like that is one of the things that, it makes it really unique because
Mhm.
like I said, I've never met you in real life. I've never been to an event. I have no doubt that when I walk into a BSB event that I will not, like, there's no part of me that is worried that I wouldn't feel welcomed
Mhm.
because that genuinely is what you are creating and putting out there. And I feel like that's a little bit unique in terms
Mhm.
of a lot of times that we see on social media, right?
Yeah.
Like a
Yeah.
lot of times I feel like we can say that we want connection or authenticity, but
Yeah.
then when we actually dive into that, sometimes that's maybe not the feeling we get. So I love that you are very clear on that vision
Mhm.
and that you've opened that up to so many different people. The growth that you had, like the when women started becoming interested in
Mhm.
it, did you feel like it was because they craved that like friendship part of it, or was it more that about like the business side of it, or was it just a little bit of both?
That's a great question. I would say it was a little bit both in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I always hear like if you preach to everyone, you're preaching to no one. But I still was like, I want everyone involved. If you
Right.
are, it was really if you're looking for friendship, if
Mm-hmm.
you're needing a community to help you grow, you're part of it. But then I realized I wasn't able to serve, or the women who were actually signing up were entrepreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
and in my mind sometimes I was like, I'm still learning. So
Mm-hmm.
why how am I going to be hosting and leading this group of entrepreneurs when I'm still figuring it out? And I
Mm-hmm.
realized that a lot of these women are just needing that peer-to-peer mentorship,
Mm-hmm.
needing a safe place to ask questions and being able to hear, I'm figuring it out too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why women love BSB because, yes, of course, we want to see your business thrive, but really, I want to see you do well.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're coming to meetings and life is falling apart, I really don't care about your sales. I want to know if you're going to be okay to make this business continue and if it's a good
Mm-hmm.
idea to continue. So
Right.
in the beginning, it was this, I think, this ache of women wanting friendship. But then I think as entrepreneurs, it can be kind of lonely sometimes because
Mm-hmm.
you carry this baby, which is your business, and even as a mom, you want to talk about your kids, even though sometimes they are a lot. They sometimes you're like, please don't, let's go to happy hour and don't mention your kids. But as a business owner, we are excited. We're
Mm-hmm.
proud. We want to share it. And the great thing about friendship is you have different circles of friends, and BSB can be your circle of friends that you can talk about your business, the highs, the lows, and the in betweens. And we're here for it. And so right now, as BSB has transitioned, actually, really in the beginning of 2024, we shared with our members that we are fully focusing on female entrepreneurs
Mm-hmm.
for our membership.
I love that. I love that. I think that I mean, your story about having sort of that built in community, like when you actually physically go to a job, when you leave the house, you go to a job, whether they're your best friends or they're
Mm-hmm.
just people that they're acquaintances, but they're people that fill your day.
Mm-hmm.
There's interaction in some way, shape, or form. And when you remove yourself from that, whether it's because you've decided to like pursue your own business or because you've become a stay at home mom, or perhaps you have to leave that because you're taking care of a parent or whatever the situation is, I don't think people realize how isolating that can actually
Yeah.
be. And that it's sort of, especially for moms, it becomes this all consuming thing where you're so emotionally and physically tired at the end of the day that you can't even imagine, like, oh, I'm gonna actually have to like put makeup on and like
Hmm.
a bra and like go
Yes,
go like
yes,
communicate with people, like, and
exactly.
socialize with them. Like in real life,
Yeah,
I don't have the energy for that. And
yeah.
so then you put it off and you put it off and you put it off, and then before you know it, you're like, where are my people? Like, I
Hmm.
don't know where my people are. And I think I hear this from so many women in San Antonio, especially because since we're such a military town, I feel
Hmm.
like there are so many women who come into San Antonio and they don't know anybody, or they don't have any family, and they're starting over, and their husbands are deployed or their wives are deployed or whatever the situation
Hmm.
might be, and they don't know how to connect. You're like, I don't know where to plug in, and it can really take a toll on your mental health.
Yeah,
And just, I mean, you can be an otherwise like very happy and wonderful person and not really realize how much you need like that woman to woman like
yes,
friendship and relationship. and
absolutely.
and I agree. I think as entrepreneurs, same thing. Like, maybe you have gone from a work environment and now you're running your own business, and you're like, and I'm here all day long by myself. Like,
Hmm.
who am I talking to? Who am I having? So with BSB, since it is a co-space as well,
Hmm.
and tell us a little bit about the different events that you have and what like the co-working and the co-space looks like on a Tuesday
Yeah.
morning. What does that look like there at the co-space?
Yes, for sure. Um, First of all, I wish I could just, snap my fingers and everyone listening to could be at the Coast Base because you have to smell it and see. That's how I am. I want all your senses to be invigorated when you come into the Coast Base. So it will always smell so good. It will all be so
Mm-hmm.
clean. And the pinks and the sage and the dusty blues, which
It
is our
is
brand
such a gorgeous
colors.
space. It is a
It's
gorgeous space.
pretty.
If you are listening and you do not follow Christine, you have got to go and follow her and just look at the space, because you will literally drool. I don't know how people don't want to go there and work. I would
I
literally
know.
be there every single day if I could.
It's so great. And I love that I get an excuse to have a pink couch, like a mob couch.
Yeah.
I love it so much. So I would say in a typical co-working day, we have women that, are coming into the co-space, and the wonderful thing is like they have different avenues of what they're working on. We have an author who comes in after 3 p.m. Shout out to Carolyn, and she's there working and finding the words and getting her word count. We have a CEO or SEO. She works on helping businesses with their SEO. And then we have women that are like, I think I know what I'm pursuing. I just need to get away from my house and be able to fully invest in this passion that I have.
Hmm.
Because when we are working at home, there's so many distractions that are going to pull us and not get us to do the work that we are constantly. I don't know about others, but for me, I'll lay in bed and be like, I just didn't get to that, but I really was hoping to, that got me really excited about. So they're able to come, and I love it that, with coffee shops, you're hoping for a good spot with an outlet for your laptop. And with us, it's like, where the seats are, the couch and the tables, and it's going to be so great for you. So I love the fact that we're in and out. A lot of these coworker members have, like for me, I have an office at home, but yeah, you get to a place where you're like, okay, I need to talk to people. And that's the great thing. We're working for a little bit, and we'll just talk about how our kids are doing. We'll get to share a
Hmm.
win that we have. And so we're able to bounce back ideas and also just be there for each other. And I love to say, like, hey, I've missed you. Or they'll say, I missed you. I haven't seen you in a while. And it just, you feel loved. You
Right.
feel like they really care about me. So that is for our co-space members, and it's from Monday through Thursday at 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. That they get to come, and it is designed. It looks like a little cottage, a house, and they feel like it's their second home. So they
Hmm.
know where the coffee is, they know where the trash bags are, and they feel very comfortable to just be authentically them and get their work done. For our BSB members who are not a CoSpace member, we have at least 4 to 5 events per month. Majority of them are at the CoSpace. Like I said, it's our home. And these are business workshops, networking opportunities, and we love hearing from our members. We ask, what do you want to learn? What
Hmm.
expert can I find? I'm a connector, and so I'm constantly I'm actually even part of another women's group. So I'm able to learn from other women, and I find experts that I can bring in and they can teach BSB members. For example, yesterday we had a woman who is trained in mediation reconciliation. So we had one specifically, what does it look like to work on conflict in your business, whether that's from a team member or from another business owner. Maybe you had
Right.
miscommunication. We've done that. We've done we're having later this month is we're going to be having someone talk about how to nurture your email list. It just varies. And then sometimes we
Hmm.
have moments of like, I know we're already planning something in May where it's like, I just want to hang out. We're going to have some community building in the evening
Hmm.
of just like, let's just sit down and how are you doing? And let's have some fun, maybe do some crafts or something. So I love getting to plan events for the ladies, and especially events that I know that they would really benefit in growth of their business and also growth in their personal lives as well.
Hmm. I love that. I love that. What do you think? Um, what do you think life would look like for these women if they didn't have the co-space, if they didn't have that community? Like, what sort of
Mm,
impact do you think? Because I feel like it goes so much deeper, like women,
mm-hmm.
relationships with women and friendships that we have and the connections and the community and the collaboration that you have,
Yeah.
in business or in your personal life. It goes so much deeper
Mm-hmm.
than just like I have somebody fun to hang out with, or I have like
Yeah.
a cool place to go work. Or
Mm-hmm.
so what do you feel like these women would lack in their lives if they didn't
Mm-hmm.
have this space?
I think just a place to, a safe place to process. I had a moment with a co-space member, and she came in, and I always, whenever they come in, I give them a hug, and I want them to feel loved. And she sat down. I said, "Hey, how's your morning been?" And she was like, It's been a really hard morning.
Hmm.
I had a disagreement with my husband. My kids were not listening, and it was just really hard. But I knew if I came to co-work at the co-space, you would ask me about that. And so I knew I'd be able to process it out loud with you.
Hmm.
And I feel lighter because of it.
Hmm.
So in a way, I was able to listen to her. I didn't give her, this is what you should do. You should do this next, give her pointers, or I literally was just a listening ear. I was an active listener. And she gave me part of that load as mom entrepreneurs, as entrepreneurs, just in general,
Hmm.
wholes, because we were wearing so many hats. And I was able to hold that for her and say, give that to me and be able to be present in your work and not feel guilty as a wife or a mom, and that
Hmm.
you're going to be okay. And so I think that it allows them just to share things. Oh my gosh, there's so
Hmm.
many times. I sometimes feel like, do I always just talk about the craziness of my life when I see members? Because I'm authentically me, and they're like, how
Yeah.
was your day? I'm like, oh my gosh. Those shout out to those who have preteens or have had preteens in homes and stuff. There's the high and the low
Oh
lows, and
yes, yeah.
so
It's a whole different ball game when you get to
it
that
is.
age.
It's great, and I love because I have members that are seasoned and that can just nod their heads and say, "You're
Hmm.
not crazy. You're not a bad mom." Or I have moms that are in the midst of toddler and they come to me and they're like, I feel like my kiddo will never be potty trained. And I can be that
Hmm.
for that person. Like they will. They're not going to go to
Yes.
college with a diaper. It'll help out for them. So I would say, like, I think just being there for them personally, for sure. And of course, in their business too, them able to share. There's one time a member just got to share, like, she even said, like, woohoo, I did it. And I was like, well, tell me about it. She's like, well, I've been working on this goal of mine for months, and I think I figured it out, which was automation in her DMs, which
Hmm.
was fantastic. And I got to be there and cheer her on. And I
I
was
love
just saying, I'm
that.
just so proud of you. And then also, we look at each other and we're like, I don't want to do this task. Can
Yeah.
you distract me? And we're like, nope, you can do it. Or, hey, why don't you think of a celebration you can do after you get it done? So,
Right. So a little bit of
yeah,
accountability, like as
yes,
well.
for
Yeah.
sure. Absolutely, we have accountability there as co-space members, and just to be able, what I also love because as co-space members, but actually just members in general, we get to see their life and to see milestones. I had a member who joined the co-space membership, and she needed to get out of her house and work, and I got to see her talk about her boyfriend. Then she got engaged. Then she got
Aw.
married, and then she just had her first baby.
Oh, I
And
love that. I
I
love
got to
that.
see all that. I got to be part of
Yeah.
it. I got to, oh my gosh, I got to just cheer her on when she was like,
Hmm.
I have a desire to be married. I have a desire to
Hmm.
be a mom, and tell her I believe in that. And
Hmm.
I remember when she was on the trip where she got engaged, we were all just waiting by our phones and like, did you
Aw.
see they're here? And when she got engaged and she messaged, we just, of course, we were waiting by the door to show her off the ring. And then when she got married, we were there to cheer on. And then we got to throw her a little baby shower
Oh, I
when she
love
had her
that.
little boy. So I love that we get to be in the ins and outs of these members' lives and
Yeah.
be there for them. And the highs, and the lows too. We get to be
Hmm.
there. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I do think I love the that you touched on that it's this group and sort of different seasons, and you can sort of lean in and talk to somebody who maybe has already been in that season, or maybe you're the person, the expert who's been through that season already. I talk very, very frequently with people and other women about, I mean, one of the biggest things that I value is my friendships with women. And oftentimes that looks like naturally people that are in the same season as you are,
Mm-hmm.
correct? Like we were
Mm-hmm.
talking
Yeah.
prior to us starting recording about our playing baseball. Like our sons play
Yeah.
baseball. Your son played
Mm-hmm.
baseball. My oldest son played baseball. And what initially happens is that you form this community with these people because you're in the same season.
Yeah.
Literally, you're in baseball season, or
Mm-hmm.
your kids are about the same age, or you're having babies, or maybe you're an empty nester. And I think that those relationships are so valuable. But what I love and what I've encouraged people to seek out is memberships or groups or
Mm-hmm.
organizations where you can connect with people who are in other seasons of life, because that has been so valuable to me at like all through my life. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
one of my very, very best friends that I've known now for 22 something years, she is 9 years older than me. And so
Wow.
our lives were never like directly parallel.
Yeah.
She was always a little more ahead. So, when I was having babies, her kiddos were like middle school. And then when her kiddos were like graduating, my kids were going up into middle school. And so it was always this, we always had this ability to, I had this ability to go to her and to say to her, like, yes, like, is the kid ever going to potty train?
Yeah.
Am I ever going to be able to sleep through the night again?
Mm-hmm.
And to hear other people be able to tell you, yes, in fact, you will. There is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And so those are I tell people, like, it's so important to have like your group of friends. Like, we all have our core group of friends that have been in the trenches with us and that are going through the same similar things that we have, that we've maybe grown up with or we've known since college. But the importance of like connecting with new people in your life and making
Yeah.
new friendships, I think are just as valuable, because that might be something you need in your life at that moment.
Yeah.
Like right now, like I'm in the thick of building this business, or trying to launch, like grow the podcast. And so
Yeah.
having other people who have experienced this, or, reaching out to them. And sometimes that can be kind of hard, because I think as adults, like, it's hard to sort of be like, do you want to be my friend? Like you said, like you
Yes.
can't just be
Yeah.
like, oh, you're wearing pink today. You seem
Yeah.
you seem like a
Yeah.
nice person. Let's be friends. And you're friends for like the rest of your life, literally, because of
Absolutely.
that. It's
Yeah.
a little more, like it's a little harder. It's a little trickier. So what is something, like, if there was somebody listening right now and they really are craving this, because I feel like women in general, even if they don't say that they're craving this, I feel like, we're created to be in community. Like we're not
Yeah.
created to be solo people. Like we are
Mm-hmm.
created to live in community and in relationships. And so what kind of advice would you give somebody that is like, I really want to step out of my comfort zone a little bit, and I really would love to be involved in an organization like this, or be a member, or go to one of these events, but I'm literally terrified to do that?
Yes.
How would you tell somebody to kind of work through that?
Yeah, that's so great. I want to touch it back. I love what you said about how important it is to have friendships that are not, I call it in the trenches with you. I
Mm-hmm.
believe that it is so beneficial to have friendships, women friendships that are ahead of you, that are in the trenches with you, and then also that are behind you. And not behind you like
Mm-hmm.
they're, no, just like that you can mentor.
Right.
That's something that I love about BSB is that we are multi-generational membership. And I'm loving that we are actually growing in our group of seasoned women, these elegant, sophisticated women that have gone through the preteen stages. And now many of them are empty nesters. And I love that they're like, and now I have time to really invest in myself. So I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
join this membership. And they bring so much wisdom. But also they look to us, those who are in the membership that are 40s, 30s, 20s, and we get to encourage them. Like, you still got
Mm-hmm.
it, sis. Like, don't be
Right.
afraid of those wrinkles. Like, show up. You are beautiful and you're capable. And how important it is that to be in a multi-generational, also multicultural too, membership, that these women not necessarily think or speak or look like you and have different stories of you. Because my hope is, and I tell my members that, my hope is that you are so comfortable being in a room of women that are not just like you. So when you are in another event or another situation that's not BSB, and you look around and you're like, oh, I see a woman that's my grandmother's age. I see a woman that's
Mm-hmm.
my mother's age. I see a woman that is in college. Well, I have connections already, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel confident in communicating and having conversations with them because at BSB, I have friends of all ages. And so I can
Mm-hmm.
jump on in and be part of that conversation and get to know them. And so it is so, so important. Now, going back to that question that you had of, women who are like this, and I get those DMs. These women slide
Mm-hmm.
into my DMs. They're like, I am desperate. I'm desperate for friendship and I need this. And I know that this is going to be the biggest change in my life. And they're really scared.
Mm-hmm.
I say that be brave. And I know you're like, oh, some people are like, well, I still don't want to do that. But be brave
Mm-hmm.
and show up. I have members who, shout out to Sierra, she's so good about this. Whenever we have a networking, she always brings a friend. She's like, you
I
need your
love
wing
that.
woman. You need someone that, just in case there's a lull in a conversation, you got someone to talk to. And
Mm-hmm.
she always brings a new friend to an event. First one, because she loves celebrating other women, but also just a little sweet like friend, that little security blanket in that. So I suggest that of like
Mm-hmm.
have that woman, or have yourself ask. Now you might be like, well, I have no one, I have
Mm-hmm.
nobody. I would say then maybe I would even message the event coordinator and say, my desire is to be part of this membership or a part of this event. I'm really a little nervous about it. Is there any way we can get coffee before?
Oh
Or
yeah.
just to be able to kind of get to know each other before it's a huge group. I've had members do that before with me.
Mm-hmm.
They have said, I want to come to events. I'm really, really scared. Or maybe I feel socially awkward and I don't
Mm-hmm.
know how it's going to go. Can I have coffee with you? And it's, of course, an absolute yes,
Mm-hmm.
because I would always want these members to feel welcomed. And what
Mm-hmm.
we try to do is for our BSB to make it not so scary. We always have your name tag ready for you. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something, or we'll actually even put a question like, ask me about, and you get to write. So when someone looks at your name tag, they can be like, Chastity, tell me about your podcast. You have a
Mm-hmm.
podcast? Tell me about that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not just standing there like, okay, how do I spark a
So yeah, it's
conversation?
like an automatic like conversation starter. I love
Yes,
that. I love that idea. Yeah.
absolutely. I actually got that idea from a gal that was like, I'm an introvert. And when I go
Mm-hmm.
to networking events, this is what I have seen worked and what I have not seen worked. So I think
Mm-hmm.
also as a leader in this membership is I have to be conscious of these. They're not all Christine. They're not all Enneagram
Right.
sevens that everyone's our best friend and I'm able to show up authentically me. That's how I'm made. I have to remember that that's not how everyone is. And I have to
Mm-hmm.
be allowing an easy entry for everyone. So I would say first, if you're able to have another gal pal and say, okay, let's commit to at least 2 outings this quarter,
Mm-hmm.
or give yourself a goal and say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm going to put this on my calendar, RSVP. And some events you have to pay to go. So that kind of gives you a little kick in the booty of like,
Right.
you're going to lose your money if you don't go.
Mm-hmm.
So go to those events and invite someone to go with you. I would even message the coordinator, message the person who's leading it saying, hey, I'm excited to come. I'm new. And you can just say, I'm a little nervous. Those who are kind and loving are never going to bat their eye and be like, oh, I can't believe she said that. They're going to be like, okay, I know that I'm going to make sure I'm going to beeline it to her when she walks in the door. I know that's for
Right.
me. Whenever we always have our guest list, if they are not a member and this is their first event, we make sure that myself and we call it BSB ambassadors, these are the hands and feet of BSB, are able to come and make sure that they feel comfortable in the event. And so, yeah, get your friend, message that coordinator, put it on the calendar, pay for the event.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to take time
Mm-hmm.
as much as we see sometimes online and we see these relationships and we're like, that's where I want to be in these friendships. It's going to take time. I remember there's some statistics that were shared of like how many hours it takes for you to actually get to that girl's getaway that you are so
Yeah.
dreaming about that you're like, I want to do it. I think it's like 50 to 75 hours, I think, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a long time. But
Mm-hmm.
that also is you showing up and being consistent. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think it's being brave, being consistent. Just don't think if I go to one event and no one talks to me, then it's on me and I'm not meant for community. No, everyone is built for community. We all
Mm-hmm.
need it in our life. But be consistent. And I always try to follow up with guests, but you can follow up too of just saying, "Hey,
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed the event," and then invite more people to go out. So it is scary. Trust me. Like
Yeah.
I was just at a networking event last week, and I sat in my mom van for a little bit, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
had to I found myself doom scrolling because I was just wasting time. And I was scared to get out of the car and make that walk into the event.
Yeah.
But it it was scary, and I'm telling you, I went to that networking event and I left with so many connections, not just benefiting BSB in the business, but I was able to encourage so many women that are doing incredible work.
Mm-hmm.
And I know if I didn't show up, I wouldn't have that opportunity.
Yeah.
And so,
I love that. I think that you even saying that not just the things that benefited you, but how you were able to benefit somebody else. Because I think that that is one of the things that I have often thought about. Like, whenever, when you have a business or you have a product or you have something that you're promoting, like, you have to promote it. And sometimes that feels icky
yes.
because we have
Mm-hmm.
went through this sort of transition of understanding like what marketing and advertising is. And it's like selling and it's like the car salesman and you feel so icky and it makes you feel like
Mm-hmm.
yucky about it. And so sometimes people don't have like this, you shy away from it, right? But like, I
Yeah.
mean, you're a business, so you have to promote it, you have to do it. And one of the like the like mindset switches that I've had to have is like thinking about like, what am I actually like withholding from
Mm,
other people?
yeah.
Like, it's really, I'm keeping somebody, like, this could potentially change somebody's life, or this could potentially like benefit this person, or this could lead to something that could change this person's life. And so whenever, that's exactly what I thought about whenever you
Mm-hmm.
said it wasn't even just about like what you were gaining, but also just like things that you were like encouraging others to do. And so
Yeah.
I think, you know, showing up in an event where maybe you don't know anybody, or going to a network thing, or joining an organization,
Mm-hmm.
or attending a conference, whatever it is, if you're
Mm-hmm.
solo, sort of not making it so much about like you, like not
Mm-hmm.
making it so much about like nobody's going to like me, or nobody's going to talk to me, or nobody, like, what are you going to like, who are you going to talk to, who are
Yes.
you going to make feel welcomed? Because I
Yeah.
guarantee you there is somebody in the room who doesn't feel like they belong there. Like,
Yes.
I mean, we grow up in a world, many of us have grew up in a world where really you just, all you really want is to be accepted and to be liked, right? To feel
Mm-hmm.
loved and to feel seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you can stop and you can think, there's probably somebody else here that literally feels so super awkward. They don't know
Yeah.
anybody. Like, how can I make them feel welcomed? And then taking that focus off of yourself, I
Yes.
feel like, because I'm not naturally, I do very good, like, like online, like virtually,
Hmm.
I feel very comfortable, like being myself.
Yeah.
And then when I get to somebody in person, sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, this feels a lot of times it's just very overwhelming,
Yeah.
or, I try to take a lot in and process a lot of
Hmm.
things. And so I feel like it takes a little bit of time for like my actual personality to come out and feel comfortable. It's just a little bit different. And that's one of the things that I have to often think about is like, what do I have that somebody else, like I might be able to offer somebody else to make them
Hmm.
feel comfortable, which then
Yeah.
obviously in turn makes you feel less uncomfortable when you feel like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm helping this person, you know?
Yes, absolutely. And a lot of what I just love, I love hearing and seeing women pursue their passions and dreams. And I love to be a cheerleader for them. And so
Mm-hmm.
at that networking event, I met some new gals, and one of them that I got to reconnect with, and I just got to tell her, I said, Grace, you are pursuing a calling that is so needed. And her specialty is business consulting with etiquette, like
Mm-hmm.
even how she's actually going to be one of our speakers for our networking one-on-one panel of how to teach women how to network, because it's
Mm-hmm.
so true. It's not like, here's my business card, transactional, all about me, this is my
Right.
services, do you want to sign up? No, it's not that. It takes so many interactions for that trust to build, and then
Mm-hmm.
eventually they're going to be wanting to support you and
Mm-hmm.
buy that offer when it launches.
Mm-hmm.
Or also another thing too, that's going to be like such a great thing is they'll share about you because
Mm-hmm.
they see that you've shown up for them. So when you show up
Mm-hmm.
for them, they're going to show up for you. And so just coming
Exactly.
in that way of like, maybe instead of, I'll sometimes challenge myself of like, okay, I need to encourage 3 people at this event and just tell them they're doing incredible work. And,
Mm-hmm.
or I love getting their business cards. And right away when I get home, I'll follow them and I will send them a message saying, it was so great to meet you. And then also put like a personal, like remembering our conversation. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not about, hey, it was great meeting about you. So I think a membership would be really a great idea. Let me know if you have any, no, I don't
Mm-hmm.
talk about membership. I'm not trying to have them be part of it. I'm really just encouraging them in what they are doing and getting to know them
Mm-hmm.
in that way. And so it kind of takes the pressure off a little bit too.
Yeah,
Of like,
absolutely.
yeah, you're
Absolutely.
just there to
Because
cheer people on.
exactly, to just
Hmm.
be like, hey, like you're doing a great job, whether I ever buy
Yeah.
from you or you ever buy from me.
Hmm.
Like, and that is one of the things that I love about entrepreneurship for women, especially. And I think that where I feel very blessed to be in this time where like actual authenticity, and I know that's such a buzzword, but like being transparent and just being
Yeah.
like, this is who I am, like shortcomings, strengths, weaknesses, whatever that looks like. But it's so much more, people are so much more accepting, I feel like, than what it used to be. It's very much like, I just think that we're very much more about like supporting one another instead of being
Hmm.
like in competition. We're choosing to be in community, and it just takes all that cringiness away from,
Yes.
the nonsense of like the traditional networking. Here I go,
Yeah.
here's my business card, what can you do for me? How are you going to push me, how are you going to sell me, how am I going to benefit from
Hmm.
you? And more about just like the relationship of it,
Yeah.
which at the end of the day is going to benefit you so much more than just a like
Yes.
one-time transaction.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. We are doing something for BSU that's different in that in the past we would look for sponsors for just one event. So, for example, for our Babes and Coffee, which is our monthly end of the month event, we would just do a sponsor. I didn't feel right about that
Mm-hmm.
because, it just takes more than just one interaction. And my desire is for our members and my sponsors to have a deep relationship with each other. So now they're my year sponsors. So they're guaranteed at least 4 events that they can show in person, and that we will be
Mm-hmm.
connecting them with not just our members, but our BSB community at large. And so there's just lots of different touch points throughout the year,
Mm-hmm.
and that they feel that they're growing in relationship. That's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
I tell this to members, people aren't buying your products or your services, they're buying you. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you're coming out of the gates or coming in that door, I always say this is like, if you're coming into the door and you're just like, hey, this is my new product, this is my new launch, buy it, and then you leave, they're going to be like, what in the world happened here? And so
Mm-hmm.
that's why I kind of encourage them when they show up on social media is that's why I show me without makeup on my stories. I show it all because I'm building that trust within my members, but also the community. And so I'm having these conversations, which I'm a huge fan of DMs, of just getting in there and sparking that conversation, inviting them, meeting them face to face or virtually. And then when we do have a launch, it just naturally they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, of course I'm
Yeah.
going to be part of that. Or vice versa. Because I'm already in a relationship with them, when I see that they have just launched a new website or they are starting a new service, I am ready. Maybe I won't be able to be buying that product
Mm-hmm.
or taking that service, but I am so willing to, like, I'm shouting that out. I'm sharing about
Mm-hmm.
everyone. It's
Mm-hmm.
all about relationship building. It really,
Mm-hmm.
really is. And so I'm getting passionate about it. That's how I love to be able to teach that for women, that to share your stuff so they can know you and they can build
Mm-hmm.
that trust and like and know about you and then be able to support you too in
Mm-hmm.
that way.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that I always remind people that everybody has a story, and that's honestly like what makes you unique. Like there are not very many services or very many products that haven't already been done. Like things,
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
that's just the nature of business.
Hmm.
But what makes it unique is you and your story
Hmm.
and where you've come from and what your vision is for your brand or for your business or for your product. And so, I mean, being able to make it more about you as the person as opposed to whatever service you're trying to sell or whatever product you're trying to develop, it is going to, again, like it's going to be about a relationship and not
Yep,
just about like a one-time transaction with something. So
for
I love that.
sure.
Tell me really quickly, we'll wrap up. I want to honor your time
Hmm.
for sure, but tell me really quickly, what is on the horizon for BSB and where can we find you? Where can the listeners find you? How can they connect with you?
Oh, I love that question. That's a great question. I think in the horizon is just I would I would love where BSB is, we're still learning and growing. So becoming a well-oiled machine, allowing members to rise up in leadership. And so I have the ability to go out and meet more women and can have more connections in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what's to come. Honestly, it's crazy to sound, but you can share crazy because crazy can share crazy. Our co-space is a little small. I'll say that.
Yeah.
We are bursting at the seams, and it's scary. It's very scary to say that because we just hit 2 years. I was
Mm-hmm.
talking to a member who is a realtor, and she's helping me kind of look around. So
Mm-hmm.
that's not don't quote me. I'm not moving the
Right,
co-space
right.
anytime soon. But I think it's okay to share so people
Mm-hmm.
can pray for me and manifest out loud. It's like, I kind of want a bigger building so I can have more
Mm-hmm.
people in it. I'm ready for
Mm-hmm.
that. I want I need a bigger house to house all my
Yeah.
sisters. So I'm excited about that. And then you can find me. I love hanging out on Instagram. That's kind of where my hub spot is. So BSB SATX there, that you will get connection with me. And then you can also find our CoSpace Instagram there, which is BSB CoSpace at SATX. So you can see what we get to do and what we get to host. And so, yeah, I'm there. I'm sharing all the things. I'm shouting out our members, and I just love connecting with women and being able to encourage them to pursue their passions in life and work.
I love that so much. Christine, thank you so much for agreeing to come on today. It has
No.
been so awesome just to like actually have a conversation with you and to learn more about BSB. And I just love the entire vision. And I think what you're doing for not just our local community, but just beyond that is so admirable. And you have so much to offer and it's so fun. So I encourage anybody who's listening, even if you're not local, you can still follow along and join and do all of the things.
Yes.
But definitely, if you're local, check it out. And so, thank you so much for being here with me. I appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate you too, Chastity. And I'm going to see you in person soon. I just know it. I
I
really do.
know, but it is happening for sure. All right. Thank you so much.
So thank you. Bye.
All right, that's it for this episode of Hustle Culture Dropout. I'm your host and real life bestie, Chastity Campbell. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast, leave a 5-star review if you loved it. Don't even bother if it's anything less than 5 stars. You can also follow me on socials at Chastity Campbell Co. or check out the website at chastitycampbell.com. Until next time, here's to living our most radically authentic and unapologetic lives. Thanks for listening.